get going. So, Lord Father, I want to thank you so much just for this evening. Thank you for your word, Lord. I pray that it would speak tonight in a way that each and every one of us would hear what you want us to hear from. Ask, Lord, that your understanding will be on me. Help me to hear what your Spirit is asking me to say. Thank you for these guys. I pray, Lord, tonight will be encouraging. I pray this in your name. Amen. All right. In Matthew chapter 5, Sermon on the Mount. You guys have gone through it. Obviously, it's one of those passages that you have probably heard more often than others. You know what I mean? It's probably seen more of this than you have read about Malachi or Ezekiel and stuff like that. It's one of those ones that it's fairly popular to go through. Now, the danger with that is a passage that you're over-familiarized with sometimes. You only hear what you've heard 10 years ago. You stop hearing new things when you read it. And so I want us to kind of take a little bit of a moment to sit there and really try to figure out the same thing. I'll say, as I prepared this message, some stuff came out that I didn't see before that I decided to share. But as we enter into this section, Matthew chapter 5, starting in 21, what you're going to find is that the tone of the Sermon on the Mount has changed. Jesus gets into this section where he starts saying, "You heard it said this, but I say this." He's going to do that several times. And that's not my job here tonight, is to kind of go over them all. We're going to look at the anger word. But it's an interesting section because I think it sets up a challenge to us that we have to ask ourselves if we really are ready to meet. It sets up this idea of saying, do you want to be a good man, or do you want to be a godly man? There's a level that is good enough, and then there's a level that is godly. And I think, and I'm just going to say this, I think oftentimes in our society, especially men, are more in the area of just wanting to be good enough. This whole section that Jesus is going to take us through raises the bar for what does it mean to be a godly man. Because what we have found, what you probably have found, is that if you look at this, the first one, it said, "You have heard it said." In those cases, what he's talking about is pretty much the law. He's talking about the Jewish law, the Ten Commandments in particular. And obviously, you can get vetted out more, but he's referring to the Ten Commandments, and he's saying, "You've heard it said." Now, what he's basically saying is that the Ten Commandments, because the Pharisees, they have held the Ten Commandments very well. The Jews were doing a very good job of being good, but they were doing a very poor job of being godly. And Jesus tries to raise that bar and challenge that. And what I have found is that there's a difference between good and godly. It's a difference between kind of outward and inward. Now, what the Jews were saying, if I make my behavior outwardly good enough, then that's all I have to do, and I don't really care what's on the inside. Jesus said, no, I actually care more about what's on the inside than what you are doing on the outside. And he tried to turn that around. And that's the difference between being a good man and a godly man. Now, I just want you to ask yourselves, what do we expect today? Do we expect godly? Or is good enough? What does that mean? Do you expect godliness on your account, or do you just want to be good? Do you expect godly politicians, or do you just want good politicians? Yeah. Same thing with a pastor. You want a good pastor or a godly pastor? You want a good wife or a godly wife? You can start to begin to see where this is going. it's just theoretical until you actually put it into practice. You can say, hey, I have someone who hasn't broken any laws, but man, there's corrupt inside. That doesn't make me feel right or comfortable. And what I found is that if you look at this idea of, if you take these passages that Jesus spoke, you've heard it said, but I say, most people give a nod, right? I was like, tonight, you've heard it said, you shall not murder. But I say, you shouldn't even be angry. Most people go, oh, that sounds very Confucian and very wise, and that's good stuff, right? I mean, do you think anybody out there is going to really disagree with that? Probably not. Most people will give it a lip service. But have you noticed how our private life, how what we do when we're alone is becoming less and less touchable? Have you noticed that? It's now like, hey, it's not okay to ask somebody, what they watch on TV. It's not okay to judge somebody for how many times they've been married. That's their private life. It's not okay the crazy thing is, and I just heard this the other day, right now there's a battle going on because of the couple in San Bernardino that killed 14 people. They're arguing over whether they can hack their phone or not, so that they can get the evidence off the phone. And they're saying, no, that's their private life. And you're not allowed to go into their private life. And you're like, what? Have you noticed that? We are starting to guard privacy so much. And I think what we have to be careful of is we may forfeit godliness in the process. If we sit there and say, hey, you know what? I just care about the external, as long as they do a good job. I'm not going to ask what's on the inside. I don't care about that. It shouldn't matter. Then you don't care about someone being godly. And ultimately, you're kind of saying, I hope no one even tries in my own. So that's kind of just a setup for what we're going to talk about tonight. But I wanted us to go there so that we kind of have a sense that this is a challenge. You just want to be good enough, or do you want to be a godly man? Because if you want to be a godly man, it's not just about what you do on the outside. It's about what's in you as well. Your thoughts and your heart and your motives and all those kind of things. So let's read this passage, Matthew chapter 5, starting in verse 21. He said, you have heard it said that it was to those of old, you shall not murder, and whoever murders will be liable to judgment. But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother will be liable to the council. Whoever says, you fool, will be liable to the hell of fire. So if you are offering your gift at the altar and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift. Come to terms quickly with your accuser while you are going with him to court, lest your accuser hand you over to the judge, and the judge to the guard, and you be put in prison. Truly I say to you, you will never get out until you have paid the last penny. All right. When you look at this passage, I want you to see just how Jesus works. The passage starts with a place where we can all agree. You shall not murder. I don't think many people disagree with it. Sixth commandment, well, pretty much believe that's a universal law. And even if someone, if you go to the Ten Commandments, I don't think many people argue with the Ten Commandments. But there may be some who say, actually it's okay to lie sometimes, it's okay for me to commit adultery, those kind of things. So, but most people don't want any of those Ten Commandments broken on them. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to be, cheated on, lied to, stolen from, or murdered, obviously. So, there's a sense of universal agreement in this area of what Jesus starts off with. You've heard it said, to those of old, you shall not murder. Whoever murders will be liable to judgment. Nothing universal, though. But I was going to see his technique. His technique was to start at a place where we can agree. And this is a little bit of a rabbit trail to our point tonight, but I just want you to. I love how he did this. When he was addressing difficult subjects, instead of just going head to head, and just saying, you're wrong, I'm right, we're not doing that. He said, hey, let's start where we can agree. We agree that murder is wrong, right? Yes. All right. Okay. Now, next step. And that technique is one that I almost feel like is a little lost. I'm going to ask you right now, not rhetorical. How good are we at starting on common ground with people we consider at odds with us? Let's say, and I'm not going to assume anything, okay? But let's say you're pro-life and someone else is pro-choice. How good are you at starting with common ground in that conversation? Let's say someone is, that's a little out there. Let's say someone's a legalist, or someone is an adulterer, or something like that. Or those are kind of more on the silly side. Someone is on the other side of the political fence as you are. That's probably the hot topic now. How good are you at starting with common ground? Anyway, how would you? This is kind of a lab session 1. How do you find common ground with someone who's like, you're pro-life, you're pro-choice, they're pro-choice? How do you do what Jesus just did and said, hey, let's start where we can agree? Suggestions? Okay. So we say, okay, we both agree that baby once born is precious, beautiful, and should not be, no one should let it die. Okay, all right. That's a great start. And then you can go from there and say, okay, so where's the line? Is it like, is it when labor starts? When is it, what I mean? But it's the technique of starting at a place where can we start where we can agree is a good one. Now, someone else give me another one.
One me believes in God, one doesn't. Maybe a common Christian an activity, the starting point. Maybe for longer than conversation, but maybe desire to go on top.
Yeah. So it didn't have to even be about the subject. We could agree about, hey, we both enjoy football. Just saying. We can agree to, and let's start there. Let's work on. Yeah. You
can only have an hour
for that. Yeah. No, but oftentimes obviously Jesus is talking, but I just want to raise that value up there. Because oftentimes we just go head to head with people. And Jesus had this great way of coming along and saying, okay, let's agree on something. Let's build from there. And it changes the posture a lot in a conversation. It makes it a little less, I guess, provoking. Because if you were to sit there and say, just right off the bat, you should go to hell if you ever get angry. That's a tough step.
If to quote one of the comments, when we have an hour for discussion, if one's against something that we have fundamentally about his viewpoint, let's agree we're not going to change each other's mind. But we want to learn more about the other guy's point of view. All of a sudden, no one's trying to force a change of mind, detail, value, and agreement, which is foolish. But you begin to plant knowledge to help.
Yeah, I feel like we need more of this, and that's why I kind of did a little rabbit trail on this. I feel like we need a little bit more of this in our conversation today, in our society, engaging people. Let's start with a place, just an understanding where we can at least say we're at least in the same boat a little bit. I respect opinions. That's, I'm going to respect yours, you respect mine. Hey, we can start there. Let's listen to each other and kind of see where we're going. Okay, because and the reason I go down that trail, because we're not going to, you guys being hearing that murder is liable for judgment is not revolutionary. No, at all. What is revolutionary is what he says next. And he says, but I say to you, everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother will be liable to the council. Whoever says you fool, we will be liable to the hell of fire. This is what I was talking about in the early part. You've heard this before. You probably sit there and you go, yep, got it. Yep, I remember that from Sunday school. It's locked away, murder, anger, physical, spiritual, equals. And I'm good. Really? I'm going to challenge. Is anger really the same as murder? What's the difference? Okay. But my challenge is that how many of you get angry? How many of you murdered recently? Okay, so you see a difference, all right? And you're not equating them. You don't have them on the same level. And the point I'm trying to make here is that we know this truth, but yet I think sometimes we kind of go, well, that's just that's a little over, that's a little much, in sports and athletics, you were taught to hate the other team. You know what I mean? You weren't nice to the other team while you were playing. At the end of the game, you turned off and chip ins and good game. But, I remember if you picked up another player off the ground, the coach would, what are you doing? You know what I mean? He's not your buddy, kind of thing. I mean, imagine two boxers not having that kind of attitude that I want to destroy you in their hearts. And, I wonder if our military, if they're not sitting there and looking at the enemy and thinking, having, thoughts of, I hate who those people are because of what they're doing, or policemen who hate criminals, you would sit there and say, I would wonder what if we taught them, no, you can't. You can't get it. You don't love them. What that would actually do. And just imagine if someone breaks into your house and threatens your family. What's your response going to be? Right? And so I want to ask this question. Is anger necessary? How so?
Verse 5, our Lord was angry at the temple, he struck out the tables, the sign is
Didn't say he was angry there, but it does say he was angry there. Mark 3, chapter 1, verse 6. And he entered the synagogue, and the man was there with a withered hand, and they watched Jesus to see whether he would heal him on the Sabbath, so they might accuse him. He said to the man with the withered hand, come here. And he said to him, is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do harm, to save a life or to kill? And they were silent. And he looked around at them with anger, grieved at the hardness of their heart, and said to the man, stretch out your hand. And stretched it out, and the hand was restored. Jesus himself was angry. You hear about God's wrath, that's anger. It's the word we use for it. Anger is one of these, it's interesting, it is, so obviously it's not sin when it's in Jesus or it's God. But yet here we have this passage where Jesus is equating it to murder. And I think it's important for us to see the difference if we're actually going to actually listen to the Sermon on the Mount, and not just chalk it off as Disneyland, kind of idealistic version of what just can't really happen in this world. Because the truth is that men oftentimes feel that anger is a tool that we can wield and is appropriate at certain times. Right? I mean, if you're like a fighter, There's anger in you. And as men, oftentimes, we're the ones who wield anger more often. And I don't want to check here. We're pretty good at wielding anger. So what is the difference? It's undeniable that Jesus got angry. So we can't say that it's sin in and of itself. So when does it become that? And this is where, when this passage actually, so when he says, but I say to you, everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment hell. This is that word, who is angry, this is Greek stuff, it's in a present passive verb conjugation. Okay, so it's present passive, meaning that it means it's ongoing. It's something that you let linger, that you don't put out. And this is what I found kind of interesting in this passage. Do you ever think about whenever Jesus was angry, or whenever God was angry, he moves quickly to try to extinguish it. He provides a way to extinguish that anger. And so what we're talking about here is anger that we do not want to extinguish, that we let linger and we don't want to put away. I mean, even when I read that passage in Mark about Jesus' anger, it said he looked around at them with anger, grieved at the hardness of the heart. Even in there, you can even sense that he's frustrated with them, but he wants their heart to change. Yeah.
Some of us went to meditation. I remember we had talk about this issue of anger. There was one thing that really kind of stuck with me was talking about how angry many times as we self-examine is it about control? In other words, are you angry because you're not in control of the situation, or are you angry because it's not work on your God, it's not righteous. And kind of looking at it from those that aspect. We've seen Jesus' attitude would happen in the temple and other examples, but this was not work on your God. And frankly, so I keep approaching and assess the situation. Why? Because it was not work on your God, but in other situations, it's all those examples we mentioned. Why has to do with control, or you're not getting your way. And that's been very helpful. That's that needs the best. If you're upset and angry because you're not getting your way, that's sinful. But if you're angry because someone was murdered, and that's just that's right. You should feel angry about that because that's not ungodly. Someone was taken, a child was taken, and that's appropriate.
Absolutely. And so I don't want people to read this passage and say it's never okay for you to be angry. You know what I mean? Because that is an impossible task. I mean, Jesus himself got angry. God himself gets angry. You will never not be able. But it is not okay to be and remain angry without trying to do anything about it. It talks about his brother, whoever is angry with his brother. And it uses words that aren't really that offensive. You fool. Whoever insults his brother, the words are like, you consider your brother blockhead. I don't know if anyone calls you a blockhead, you're not going to go. You're going to go, okay, blockhead, I'm sure. But it kind of means you're empty, you're nothing. And if that's how you, in your anger, you turn someone into nothing, where you don't care about them anymore, then you're crossing the line. Versus being angry and saying, I care too much about people. I'm angry that you are not caring about this as much as I'm caring about this for you. Does that make sense? I want to give you a couple passages. James chapter 1, 19 to 20. This is a good one. Know this, my beloved brothers, that every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. Listen to this. For the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. The anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. Another one, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26 to 27. Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger and give no opportunity to the devil. Anger, yeah.
And so if God gets angry, Jesus is angry, then there must be a righteous place, right? Maybe we should get angry.
So,
Yeah.
no, and that's the point I'm going to make. But I'm going to play on the other side a little bit here. Because I don't think we wield this tool of anger very well. I'm going to be blunt a little bit here. I was reading something, I forget what it was. It was it might have been a blog where a guy was just talking about how he was in this meeting and they were talking and they kind of asked all the men, hey, what do you do to protect yourself from being assaulted? And not a single guy raised his hand. He's like, I don't do anything. I just go. I don't think I'm going to get assaulted. Most of the guys, maybe, but nobody raised their hand. No one said, when I walk out to my car right now, I'm not going to go out there and be like checking, have my mace in my pocket, just in case someone comes up too close to me. But then he asked the question to the women. And the women went through this litany of list of what they did to protect themselves from men. Carry pepper spray, hold their key like a weapon. If they're out and they're drinking, they never put their drink down. Always have a friend when you're in public. Take self-defense courses. Check in under the car before you get in. Why do women have to do that? Because there's men out there who don't know what it is to be a man. That kills me. Kills me that we live in a world where we make it more dangerous instead of making it safer, more righteous, where justice is more often met because we're around.
Makes you angry.
Oh, yeah. Well done. I remember, I was a college student, and I was walking home from the library, and it was late, walking across campus, and there's a girl doing the same thing, just left the library, walking across campus as well, about maybe 25 yards ahead of me. I've longer stride across than she does, and so I'm catching up to her. And I can see her starting to get nervous. Starting to do the, kind of check over her shoulder a little more, and I realized, oh my goodness, she thinks I might be like try to rape her or something like that. And so I remember stopping and saying, hey, just go ahead. I said, go ahead, I'm not going to get any closer to you than I am now, and I'll make sure that no one else does it. And I remember just thinking, I couldn't believe that, I wish we could live in a world where if a woman saw a man walking beside her, she'd be, oh good, I'm safer now. And yet sometimes we see that women fear men, oftentimes because we let our anger go unchecked. We don't control the anger the way it ought to be. I know wives that fear their husbands. And I know kids who fear their fathers because anger. And I would never call either one of those righteous anger. Something's wrong if righteous anger doesn't produce righteousness versus producing fear in people who should see us as a guardian, a champion. So you hear what I'm saying? Oftentimes I think men excuse their anger saying it's righteous anger. I deserve to be angry about this because I don't tolerate sin in my house. And I'm going to call that righteous anger, and thus, you got to be okay with it, because I'm in the right. That's not righteous anger. Righteous anger hates the sin, but cares for that person, protects that person, defends that person. So all my caveat, this is not kind of what we're talking about today, but I'm just saying clearly, be careful what you call righteous anger. I'm not saying all anger is wrong. I think there are times when we should be angry about things, but do not justify all your anger as anger. Ask yourself, what am I really doing? This is where this passage gets me. Right now, if I say, hey, do you get it? Got it? Right? Okay, but how do you know? I would sit here and say, I have got control of my anger. You just take my word for it? How do you know if I have control of my anger? How do you know if you have control of your anger? Anyone? Say it again? Yeah. That's a great answer, actually. That's fantastic. Look at what the passage says, okay? If you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you. You know, I read this passage for so many years thinking that if I go before God, I'm angry with somebody else, I need to stop and go make it right before I go before God. I read that's how I had seen it for so many times for years, but that's not what the passage is saying. The passage is saying, if you go before God and you know someone is angry with you, then you need to stop and go reconcile. The way to measure how well you do controlling anger is knowing how many people are angry with you in your life. If no one is angry with you, if you have everyone with you, then I think you're doing a pretty good job. If you're at peace with people in your life, no one holding a grudge against you, then you're doing a pretty good job. If you have people who just think you're a jerk, and they're upset with you, then you may have an anger issue. You see where I'm going here? It says, leave your gift and there before the altar. First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift. Come to terms quickly with your accuser while you're going within court. This is that's okay, but I've never really thought of it in those terms before. But the way I can actually see if I'm doing okay with my anger is to ask the people around me, including my wife, including my kids, including my friends, office mates, whatever it might be, and say, hey, how am I doing this? And they say, dude, you can be a jerk sometimes. You may have a problem. Or if you just have a lot of people who you like, Tim, let me use you as an example. Tim doesn't like me anymore. I know. I can give a hoot about Tim because he doesn't like me. And I don't like him. I don't care at all to be made right because he's different. Or you can say that. That's what we're talking about here. If you have people who are written off in your life, then you're the one that's a fool. He's a fool. And what Jesus is trying to say, no. You don't call people that. He's my child just as much as you are. You may not be at odds with each other, but you know what? You need to make right. Just try your best. We know if we're doing wrong in this if we begin to make peace with people around us that we don't have peace with. And I think wives that's a great person to ask them, honey, are we at peace? Or do I do stuff that just takes you off and you just stop talking about it? Because you're just so done. Would your kids actually be brave enough to talk to you about it? Or would they fear that it's a trap? Yeah? Really? You want me to say that? Kind of stuff? So, this isn't just a suggestion. This is serious. Jesus is trying to tell us that anger towards another person leads. Well, it says that, what's someone else? Mine says that hell of fire. Anyone else have What's there to say? Bible, this is verse 22. Anyone else out? Yes, Steve. Who else has a different translation? Fire, okay, they switched it. I like that a little bit better. Double fire. Something good. Yeah. He's saying anger, and this is serious. Anger, unchecked, liable to hell. And he said that seems a little extreme, but let me read you this passage, Matthew 5, verse 18, 23. Matthew 18, verse 23 to 35 says, it's a parable of the unmerciful servant. Therefore the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who wished to settle account with his servants. He began to settle one, only brought to him the load of 10,000 pounds, and since he could not pay, his master ordered him to be sold, with his wife and children, and all that he had, the payment to be made. So the servant fell on his knees, imploring him, have patience with me, and I'll pay you everything. And out of pity for him, the master of that servant released him and forgave him the debt. But when that same servant went out, he found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 denarii, and seizing him and began to choke him, saying, pay what you owe. So his fellow servant fell down and pleaded with him, have patience with me, and I will pay you. He refused, and went and put him in prison until he should pay the debt. When his fellow servants saw what had taken place, they were greatly distressed. They went and reported to their master all taken place, and his master summoned him and said to him, you wicked servant, I forgave you all that debt because you pleaded with me. And should not you have had mercy on your fellow servant, I had mercy on you. In anger, his master delivered him to the jailer until he could pay all his debt. So also, my heavenly Father will do with every one of you if you do not forgive your brother from your heart. Anger matters, because forgiveness matters. Jesus is saying basically, you may not think it's important, but if you don't know how to forgive someone, I'm wondering if you realize how much you've really been forgiven. Forgiveness is a big deal in this whole kingdom of God. And yet when we hold the grudge, and we refuse to let our anger pacify, we're not willing to forgive. We're missing. We're being the unmerciful servant. Jesus is trying to protect us from that. Craziest part about it is that this judge is a judge that knows our hearts. We can try to cover it up and be nice, and I can pretend that I'm good, but yet in my mind I'm thinking, you're a jerk. Don't like you very much at all. This judge can see that. And he can know that. And so anger oftentimes is even more dangerous than murder. Because I can be thinking murderous thoughts, never really be tried for murder. But yet, if I'm thinking angry thoughts, this judge can see those, and he knows those. This is a difficult challenge set before us. And I know that it may seem unfair. Come on. Really, if I can't, I have to get along with people in order to make it into heaven. I have to be forgiving and build bridges. Well, this is the neat part. Yes, you do. And it's because it's been done to you. We as a human race have made a mockery of God's holiness. We've chosen to worship ourselves instead of our Creator. We use things that are meant for good and we turn them into instruments of wickedness. And we look at all the evil and sacrilege in this world. Have you ever wondered why God just said, the heck with it all? And add to that, God the Father had to watch his Son die because of us. I would say God has very good reason to be angry with us. So what does he do with his anger? He chooses to be reconciled. Put it out. And here for you more than all that junk that has been done against him. He set that example before us. He has chosen to be reconciled because of his great love. He has put his anger away. And that is the standard I think Jesus wants us to aspire to. And it's not something you sit there and say, I can't believe how in the world can you expect that of me? don't think Jesus would ever say anything like that unless he said, I've shown you. I don't expect of you anything less than I will do for you. And thus, I want you to do what I've done for you for others as well. Put your anger away. Be reconciled. All right. Questions? Group time. I'm going to give you some questions, but how are we doing on time?
Great.
Great. Okay. All right. At your tables, I'd love for you to just, just talk, just start off. And then after a little bit of time, I want you to ask, what are some of those areas where men have a hard time putting away their anger? Can you just talk about it, discuss it, and then give each other some suggestions. How can we work to be reconciled to our brother before we ever have to go see the judge? I didn't say the passage ends with that, the idea that you take everything. It's one of those things where you can be paying those things now. It's better to be paying those things now and taking care of it instead of knowing you have a debt later. And so, how can we start doing that? How do you, in those areas where men struggle with anger, how can we start making sure that we're paying those pennies so that when we go before God ourselves, we can sit there and say, I've done my best to reconcile and all these things. And throw out some of the challenging ones out there. Throw out some of the top topics, politics and stuff like that. Talk about hotbed of anger. Crazy. And so, but yeah, how do we address that kind of stuff? So, we pray for that time, and then we will do this. Lord Father, thank you so much for this chapter. Thank you for the high call you've given us. I pray that we will be up to the challenge. We do struggle with anger, and we struggle to not think we're right about it. But I pray that when we do get angry, Lord, you would help us to channel it in a way that seeks righteousness, seeks reconciliation. Lord, I know we won't always win that battle, but help us to be quick to try. And I pray, Lord, as men, that we would be much better examples of the Lord, that men would be champions, guardians, peacemakers, justice, and carriers. Pray, Lord, that we wouldn't be a part of the problem of the world space. And pray, Lord, that we would do it. Amen.
Hey guys, we still have time. Feel free to linger on this. That's a tough one. And I don't think any of us can stop from being angry. I think it's how do we stop being angry after we become angry? That's always my challenge. So I always get somewhat, man. But just talk amongst yourselves. Thanks for coming out, you guys. Tonight. Remember, next week we're over there. Okay.
I'm not writing
But you
Conversation. Maybe interactions. There's a correlation. Not all. I'm probably the wrong person. Not, maybe not. I'm gonna throw you a card. I'm probably more angry about trivial things than I am right. So on those trivial things, particularly, change your ways. Ways. One, I'm right. If you want to talk about it all kind of that's my here's my view, right?
That'll get you mad. Get a little mad.
My mind starts thinking.
It's a real. Well, you didn't have to. You know, I think that's one of the things that you're saying. I think that's part of the process. There's a point where anger crosses the line. And I don't agree with that. It's still, I mean, anger in a situation that's frustrating.
You're still doing, you're still.
Less cut this down early, if it's not true, but if, let's say the group.
Yeah.
One hurt, cutting at the root of me, how do I get over the pain? How do I handle that?
Maybe there's a little bit of pain issue in there. I'm gonna handle it.
The way it's reading, let's say somebody.
You might have read it.
And there was an anger period, being angry, and lost my dad. It wasn't directed at that. It was just, I'm really hurt, and I found myself anger and now that object. It had nothing to do with the situation. It got hammered and angry like a kid. There was this definition go away. So I'm not acting on my anger. I really don't have any direction for that anger.
I'm not the only player.
I mean, and I know some people take it to God, they maybe take your anger out on God.
You're facing something that you just do. Why you sick
Or angry.
in real?
I don't see it.
Something that you
Any sovereign, any
So
sovereign.
why don't we turn over this?
And I accept it.
What is my role in this?
So, I guess that's, maybe that's another question.
Mind to be reconciled? Or just be curious. I don't understand what's going on.
I'll get somebody to talk to her. I don't think we have to think about it.
What is my?
I'm trying to say this. But I know that because I was heard the philosophy of that.
Is there another way to take that? I lost it.
Well, you were always somebody.
Someone comes to you.
It's not be something to think about. God is in this.
That's where it's like, and I know that's okay. I'm not saying.
I think there is, but I don't know your opinion of that. But there is a way that you can take my neighbors to my father in heaven, but not my dad, not my earth. But he can handle me in some way of truth. And that's can you address that? Over and over. It is hard. It comes back, and I think that's.
You're God's teacher.
You know, they talk fighting man and each other. I don't know what they are.
The world knows about it.
The expectation is you guys saying, oh, yeah, it's fine. You know, that's
We're sitting here.
It's a good way to make that to God.
You owe me something.
That's the same. The good way is, all of these,
Go for it.
I think that's people do it.
A lot of this sounds like you're
God, the way it's not like
looks like we're judging them hard, and there's well, you know, I could do some work on military, I'll be there half an hour before. This guy's on there, like,
but not necessarily strong with the spirit.
honestly, it is. You gotta be, you're there at half an hour. Yeah, so it,